I'd like to paint a picture for you today. It might sound a little bit harsh. You've likely heard about the concept of the rat race. Essentially, it's this unpleasant reality where a person's job requires them to work very hard to compete with others for money, power, and status. It's an endless loop and rarely leads to any sense of overall happiness. None of us wants to admit that we're caught in this rat race, and frankly, it would suck to admit that we would be a rat. But I want to stare it down with you today. I'm going to share a story, and I want you to reflect on what it might mean for your career and life. This is a wake-up call. After listening, I hope you see and act more clearly. Here we go. Welcome to the Rising Digital Leaders Show. I am your host, Matthew Doan. Today's organizations are powered by digital capabilities, cloud, data science, cybersecurity, and much more. To be competitive, we must have tech-savvy leaders steering the ships. But these people don't come out of thin air. We must develop them. This show is for the technical experts of the world, those brave souls that feel unheard and lost in the crowd, but know they were born to lead. We need you to rise, to become impactful digital leaders. In these episodes, we help you undergo a self-transformation, developing the mindset and skill set that'll massively enhance your abilities, influence, and career potential. We take a different approach, pulling in lessons from philosophy, psychology, neuroscience, and history to enrich the professional and personal aspects of your life. Thank you for your time. Please subscribe to the Rising Digital Leaders Show. Now, let's dig in. Unfortunately, the rat race is a reality of modern society. A great majority of today's jobs exist within large companies. And even if you're working within a smaller organization, you're operating under the same conditions and norms that are influenced by traditional corporate culture, going back over a century at this point. The idea is that you're incentivized to move up the corporate ladder. The only problem is, so is everyone else. To illustrate the problem, I'd like to share the chronological life of a typical rat racer. I'll chunk up the rat racer's life into chunks of time, such as right after college, late 20s, early 30s, and so on. I realize I'm generalizing a lot here, but I'd like you to listen carefully and reflect on what it might mean for you. Let's start with ages 6 to 21, essentially your school-age years. So you're brought up in an industrialized education system. Throughout these years, you're taught to value rote memorization and standardized testing. You don't really have a lot of critical thinking or teamwork opportunities, and you're always asked, "So, what do you want to be when you grow up?" Over time, you spend 4 years in college, and at the end of it, you have your fingers crossed, hoping you chose the right career path. The result? Feeling pressure to exit into the real world and select a default path that'll keep you happy and make you prosperous. Next age range, 22 to 25. So, you've exited university, you are now oozing with optimism. Though at the same time, you unwittingly plug into the matrix. You subscribe to corporate dogma, and without really knowing, you're ensuring that identity equals work. Result? This is death number 1. Ages 26 to 30. So you are maniacally outdoing the competition, i.e. colleagues. You earn more commodity credentials than others, whether that's certifications or degrees or anything else that stacks you up against the others. You do everything possible for status and salary. And you even pump up that 401k for compounding glory in the late years of your life. You're visualizing freedom, you're visualizing passive income because everyone is telling you about it. The result? You set the foundation for the American dream, or the equivalent based on the country you're in this world. Ages 31 to 35. So you marry your soulmate and you start building a family. You nab that dream house with a nice balloon mortgage that you really can't afford. The stress starts setting in. You wake up at 3 a.m., questioning your life decisions. You start to suffer from this meaningless sense of work and burnout. It's really becoming too much. The result? You are beginning to spiral. The rat racer at ages 36 to 45. At this point, home life pressures really increase. You feel the creep of the next generation workforce. They've got so many skills and they are hungry. You also stress about this undiversified career. You haven't really stacked it in unique ways. You've been betting on this single track. And you sense that your investment game in those 401ks and those limited stocks aren't sharp enough or big enough to really get you to where you want to be. Financial freedom doesn't really seem like it's going to happen. The result? Midlife crisis. Ages 46 to 65. The 401k focus is leaving you woefully short. You're jealous of former colleagues who have now split off and become entrepreneurs while you stayed running up the corporate ladder. Well, you weren't really even running. You were just slowly climbing at this point. You're also overqualified, undiversified, and not a great fit for work. You're getting age discrimination shoved in your face. Result? You're lacking purpose, health, and energy. This is all sounding pretty dangerous, isn't it? Now we hit 65 and beyond. At this point, you're not traveling the world with riches. You're actually forced into retirement, or you're working a menial job just to get by. You're depleted and regretful. Result? Death number 2. So there you have it, the life of the stereotypical rat racer. Sounded good in the beginning, right? But then it took a sharp nosedive. I will make a really strong point here. If any of this resembles you, it's not your fault. The theory of mimetic desire explains that we grow up in this world learning to want what others want. We consciously and unconsciously internalize all sorts of influences and adopt them as our own. So if you really want that new electric Audi car, it's likely because you admire people who drive vehicles like that. You want to be like them, so you want the same car as them. Again, you adopted their desires, you adopted their lifestyle, and you started pursuing things the same way that they are. It's totally natural. It's totally human. The important part, however, is that you learn to ask yourself tough questions and break free of these negative patterns if you sense them. So as this rat race story is fresh in your brain, I'd like to leave you with 3 questions to reflect on. Number 1, what are my current measures of success? Number 2, what are the key features of my ideal lifestyle? And number 3, how am I exploring and pursuing my own unique dreams? Think about those carefully. Measures of success, your ideal lifestyle, and pursuing your own unique dreams. Compare that to what you're doing right now. I will leave you with this last tidbit. Following conventional wisdom from conventional people doing conventional things leads to a conventional life. Oftentimes, that's the life of a rat racer. That's all for today. We'll catch up soon. This is your host, Matthew Doan. Thank you for listening to the Rising Digital Leaders Show. Again, my mission is to help you elevate your career as a digital leader and live a thriving life. I hope this episode sparks new thinking and helps you take meaningful action in your world. If you enjoyed the experience, I'd be so grateful if you subscribed and left a 5-star review. That's it for now. Until next time, my friends, stay virtuous.